Today, we will be discussing one of the most notorious cases in American history, the Long Island Lolita case. In 1992, the case captivated the nation as it exposed a scandalous affair between a high school student and a married man twice her age. The case involved statutory rape, grand jury testimony, media frenzy, and ultimately resulted in convictions and prison sentences for the individuals involved. We will explore the events leading up to the crime, the investigation, the trial, and the aftermath of the case that continues to intrigue people to this day. We will take a deep dive into the lives of the people involved and analyze how their actions affected not only their own lives, but also the lives of those around them. We will also examine the cultural and societal factors that contributed to the case's notoriety and how it influenced public opinion and the media's coverage of the story. Before we begin, please give the video a like. That really helps with the algorithm. Also, consider subscribing to the channel for more true crime. I apologize for putting this in the middle of the video, but the channel has stopped growing recently. On May 19, 1992, Mary Jo Buttafuoco answered the door of her Long Island home to find a teenage girl named Anne Marie, who claimed that Joey Buttafuoco, Mary Jo's husband, was having an affair with her 16-year-old sister. Mary Jo demanded to know who Anne Marie was and where she lived, and as they spoke, Mary Jo noticed a young man in a car parked outside her house. Anne Marie showed Mary Jo a t-shirt from Joey's auto body shop as proof of the affair, but Mary Jo dismissed it as Joey had given away many such shirts. Mary Jo then demanded that Anne Marie leave and turned to go inside to call Joey. Suddenly, Anne Marie brandished a gun and struck Mary Jo in the head before shooting her in the right temple. Anne Marie fled, leaving behind the shirt and gun, and raced to the waiting car with the young man inside. Neighbors heard the shots and called 911, and Mary Jo was rushed to the hospital for surgery. Police initially suspected that it was a mafia hit, but they later learned that Anne Marie was actually 17-year-old Amy Fisher, who was having an affair with Joey. News of the shooting and the love triangle quickly spread across the country. Amy was eventually arrested and charged with attempted murder, while Joey was also charged with statutory rape for his relationship with Amy. The case became a media sensation, with Amy being dubbed the Long Island Lolita and portrayed as a ruthless young woman. However, as more details emerged, the story became more complex. It was revealed that Joey had manipulated and groomed Amy, and that she had suffered years of sexual abuse from him. Amy eventually pleaded guilty to first-degree assault and served several years in prison. Amy Fisher was born on August 21, 1974, on Long Island, New York. Her childhood was traumatic due to a difficult relationship with her father, who she would purposely avoid, and traumatic events including sexual abuse by a family member and rape by a contractor. These experiences led her to numb her emotions as a coping mechanism. However, she had a loving relationship with her mother and found support from her maternal aunt and grandmother. During her school years, Amy made a lot of female acquaintances and formed several close relationships with some of her classmates. She also embarked on a series of romantic relationships in her mid-teens, one of which resulted in a pregnancy and eventual abortion. Although she cared deeply for the young men she dated, none would compare to the man she would meet in the summer of 1991. In May 1991, Amy Fisher damaged her car while trying to park it, and fearing her father's reaction, she took it to a local auto service shop. The owner, Joey, suggested that she tell her father someone else had hit the car, and she did. Impressed by how Joey treated her father, Amy began to develop a romantic interest in him. On July 2, 1991, while Joey was installing a stereo in her car, he drove her home and made advances towards her, leading to them becoming lovers. Joey Buttafuoco was a married man with 2 children when he began a relationship with Amy Fisher. They would spend time alone in motels, and according to Amy, Joey hinted at getting rid of his wife, Mary Jo. Amy contracted herpes 2 weeks into their relationship, but denied that Joey gave it to her out of fear of statutory rape charges. Amy lost her job as a salesgirl at Jean Country and needed money to pay for her car. Joey allegedly suggested that she become an escort. By late September 1991, Amy was making a substantial amount of money in her new job as a prostitute. Although she was physically repulsed by the work, she continued to do it in order to pay off her car. She also continued her relationship with Joey, but it was beginning to get out of control. Amy's relationship with Joey, a married man with 2 children, was becoming increasingly obsessive. Despite contracting herpes from Joey, she denied it and distanced herself from her family and friends. When Joey chose his wife over her, Amy attempted suicide, but survived and received support from her mother and friends. However, Amy's obsession with Joey continued, and she even posed as a door-to-door salesgirl to catch a glimpse of his wife, Mary Jo. In January 1992, Amy and Joey got back together, but she was also seeing another man, Paul Makeley. To avoid jeopardizing her relationship with Joey, Amy downplayed her interest in Paul and made plans to eliminate any threat to their relationship, including Mary Jo. In May of 1992, Amy went to a salon where her friend Jane worked and told her of her plan to get rid of Joey's wife. Jane suggested she talk to Peter Guagenti, also known as PDG, for help obtaining a gun. Joey allegedly helped Amy plan the murder by telling her to shoot Mary Jo without waiting for her to open the door. On May 15th, Amy and Peter drove to the Buttafuoco residence, where Amy confronted Mary Jo and shot her in the head. Mary Jo was rushed to the hospital, where doctors were able to stabilize her but could not remove the bullet. After the shooting, detectives interviewed Joey, who gave them information that ultimately led to Amy's arrest. Detective Martin Alger was investigating the shooting of Mary Jo Buttafuoco and received a tip about Paul and Amy. Joey suggested that Paul's girlfriend gave him money to pay off a debt, but Paul found out about Joey's advice to Amy and wanted revenge. Mary Jo regained consciousness and identified the shooter as a teenage girl named Anne Marie, who claimed the young man in the maroon car was her boyfriend. She also remembered the girl showed her one of Joey's shirts. Joey suggested that the shooter was Amy Fisher because he had given her the T-shirt that Mary Jo saw at the time of the shooting. Alger got a photo of Amy and Mary Jo identified her as the shooter. Alger instructed Joey to call Amy to find out where she was, and they arrested her at her home. During her interview, Amy claimed that the shooting was an accident, but refused to reveal the names of Paul or Jane. Instead, she falsely accused Joey of giving her the gun used in the shooting. Investigators became confused by Amy's constantly changing stories and found it difficult to distinguish fact from fiction. They eventually discovered Jane's possible involvement, but she escaped charges. The police also suspected that Paul was involved, but a neighbor's testimony cleared him of suspicion. The police were still eager to uncover why Amy went after Mary Jo, if Joey was involved, and the identity of the Thunderbirds driver. Initially, Joey denied giving Amy the gun, but evidence of their affair began to surface, including receipts for motel rooms and eyewitness accounts. The media picked up the sensational story, with headlines like Fatal Attraction and Long Island Lolita, and talk shows competed to have anyone connected with the case as guests. One of Amy's former clients, Peter DeRosa, sold a sex tape he had made with her to a tabloid news program, damaging her public image and credibility. Despite this, Amy pled not guilty to charges including attempted murder, criminal use of a firearm, and assault. At her bail hearing, the assistant district attorney argued that Amy was a dangerous and manipulative girl with a reckless past as a prostitute. He suggested setting bail at $2 million, which was the highest in Nassau County history. Amy's lawyer objected, but was overruled. Between the first and second bail hearings, 2 of Amy's acquaintances appeared on national television, claiming that Amy had used them for sex to try and procure a gun. During the second bail hearing, the assistant district attorney again used Amy's reputation as a sexual manipulator to argue for the $2 million bail, which was maintained despite the efforts of her lawyer to reduce it. Amy was arrested and jailed for over 2 months before being released on bail, which was secured by KLM Productions in exchange for the rights to her story. Mary Jo filed a lawsuit against Amy, her parents, and Peter Guagenti, who supplied Amy with the gun. Amy's lawyer made a plea bargain in which Amy would receive immunity and between 5 to 15 years in jail in exchange for testimony against Joey. Amy accepted the deal, but a damaging tape of her jokingly discussing her desires before going to prison was aired on TV, damaging her credibility. She attempted suicide but survived and recovered in a psychiatric unit. Joey was exonerated, but Amy was sentenced to up to 15 years in prison. Joey's accomplice, Guagenti, received 6 months in jail. Joey Buttafuoco was accused of statutory rape by Amy Fisher in 1992. In 1993, the case was reopened, and Amy testified before a grand jury with evidence supporting her claims. Joey's wife, Mary Jo, also testified, but on behalf of her husband, accusing Amy of lying. Joey was indicted on multiple charges, including rape and sodomy. He pled not guilty, but eventually changed his plea to guilty on 1 count of statutory rape and served 6 months in prison. After his release, Joey moved to Los Angeles to pursue an acting career and was arrested again in 1995 for violating his parole. In 2003, he and Mary Jo divorced after 26 years of marriage, and Joey was later charged with an auto insurance scam, facing up to 6.5 years in prison if found guilty. Amy served 7 years in jail and was released in 2003, remaining on parole until that year. She changed her name, appearance, and pursued an education while working various jobs, including as a columnist for a newspaper. In 2003, she married Lou Bellera, with whom she has 3 children. Amy would go on to write a book about kids and violence, using her experiences to make a positive difference. She would also become a webcam model and an adult film actress. Amy and Lou would divorce in 2015. Joey and Amy's case became a media sensation, earning the nickname the Long Island Lolita case. The case had a lasting impact on the lives of those involved, and their stories continue to be of interest to true crime enthusiasts. Do you think Joey should have received a harsher punishment? Let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear what you have to say. Till next time, signing off. This has been Christina.